Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. Whoop! Guess what? Just like that, I'm back like I never left. I know y'all think I'm a robot and we film every day, but I haven't filmed in quite a while. This is my first day back on the set, and I'm so super excited because this is one of my favorite places to be. I don't skip on my guests, so I'm so excited to hear about this lady. She's here. You know the drill. She comes to the stage, tells us her name, where she's streaming from, and we jump right into that story. Are y'all ready? Because I'm ready. And here's our very beautiful guest for today.
Awesome. So glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Amanda, and I'm coming to you from Missoula, Montana, USA. So super excited to be joining you from the Big Sky country here today, and happy to share my story and hear more about what you guys are doing in the world to change the world. But I'll tell you, it wasn't always easy, right? I started my business 16 years ago as a single mom with 5 very young kids. And I remember the moment where I felt like I was the biggest failure. I was at Safeway after school, getting a few things because we had dinner, the hubbub of trying to figure out that school homework, get dinner on the table. And my son says to me, "Hey, we need ketchup." So my kids and I walk over to the condiment aisle. I grab the ketchup. And another one of my kids goes, "Oh, we need ranch dressing too." And immediately, I just started crying because, like so many days, I had been calculating every cent we were putting in that shopping cart. And I knew that I couldn't afford both the ketchup and the ranch dressing. I felt like the biggest failure. And the problem was, I wasn't just failing me, I was failing my kids. I was all they had, and I wasn't cutting it. Fast forward a little bit, and I decided to keep going. And I remember a key moment when I was out trying to help small businesses. A core value at Reed Mobile Marketing is we help small businesses beat big brands. And 2010, we're kind of in the height of a recession here in the United States. And I'm at a coffee shop that I worked from frequently. And I knew the owners, and I had asked them several times if they wanted to do some of this marketing stuff I was talking about, and they always graciously said no. That particular Wednesday, when I was in there, they told me that they were going to have to close their doors, that they just didn't have the money. And I basically said to them, well, might as well try what I'm doing. You can't really lose now, right? So luckily they said yes. And over, a month, 2 months, things started to turn around. And that gave me the confidence that I was really helping businesses, that I was able to do what I said I was going to do, that I was making an impact in the world that I wanted to make. Now, I would love to say that it was all rainbows after that, but it wasn't. There was ups and downs, but that was the turning point. There were still many nights I spent wondering and crying alone if I had made the right decision. But I kept going. And eventually I met a man who became my husband. And that's when we moved to Montana. And unfortunately, just a few years after he became my husband, he unexpectedly passed away. And I once again found myself as a single mom, not knowing what to do. And as I'm looking at my kids, I had decided that there was only one thing that mattered, and it was that I show up for them, and I still had to be able to provide for them. Fast forward to 2019, and I found myself sitting on the bleachers of the Metro Coliseum at the state wrestling tournament for my son. It was his senior year, the last chance, the last time that he had a chance to win the medal he wanted to win, right? And I'm sitting there with my other kids, and tears came to my eyes again for 2 reasons. One, I felt absolutely helpless. You see, he had put in the work. He deserved to win, but that didn't guarantee anything. And all I could do is sit there and watch. But second, in that moment, I realized I really did have it all. You see, I had set out to provide for my kids, build a business that would actually be able to provide for them, but also to never miss anything. You see, again, all my kids had was me. I didn't want them to ever be in a place where they didn't have anybody cheering for them. And in that moment, I realized I accomplished both things. And as I went on, I realized that I was super passionate about helping other moms accomplish what I had accomplished as well. I called that having it all. It is what mattered to me. And so I wrote the book Unapologetically Me as a guide to say, how do we build businesses while being a mom? Because I truly believe that the life we love is fueled by the businesses we build. And I want to help you do that. And last year we founded The Mob, an online free community for mom-owned businesses that teach you exactly what you need to do to start, build, and grow businesses online so you can actually get to where you want. Because the one thing that they never tell you, when you're busy recording all the firsts when you have kids, the first tooth, the first step, the first day of school, the first words, they don't tell you how quickly those firsts become lasts and how quickly it all goes. And in the meantime, I want to help you build that life that you can look back on and be proud of. That's my story.
It's a good one, Amanda. It's a it's a good story. And what you just said at that last part, you said how quickly those first become last, because I find myself toggling with my 7-year-old, right? It's just, you know what I mean? It's just like he's becoming independent. And it's like there's so many things I still want to do for him because it's slipping away. And I'm trying to find and be grounded in the moments and be very grateful for what's happening, even if it's hard. And that's one of the things I tell people. Even if it's hard, God, please find the grace that's in my heart to be able to understand this space and appreciate it, even if it's hard. And part of that is, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we learn so much through the hard, right? We're always looking for the easy, but we learn so much through the hard. And so it allows us to be able to be bigger and share more and help other people when we learn through the hard.
Learning through the hard. And I tell myself that often when I get up, I said, you know what? I'm still going to leave the day empty. I don't care if it's hard. I'm going to give it all I got. And it's going in full throttle every day, Amanda. And that's what I stand on. But there were so many things that I got the feelers for in that introduction. The first part is saying I'm going down the aisle and there's ketchup and there's mustard and there's condiments that I can't afford. I can't get to. But then Amanda says she shifts to now I'm a business owner. I do X, Y, Z. Because as we're talking about the hard, right? That's the hard. I can't afford these things. Where mentally did you have to go for feeling like I can't even afford 2 condiments to now I'm a business owner? Because those are the parts right there, Amanda, that many moms, they get stuck there and they can't find and feel to get to that next. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think some of it is a couple different things. It's one, looking at what you can control. I maybe was in a really tough spot, but I had a choice in how I was going to react to it. I decided to focus every single day to give everything I had to building my business and to being a parent. Like those were the only 2 things that mattered to me. So I gave my all every day. I love what you said, ending the day with like knowing you gave it your all. I always say I want to end with 0. I want to end with knowing that I have nothing left in the tank. It doesn't matter how the day actually ended up. I can only focus on my inputs. But that also looked like I was spending 4 to 6 hours a day cold calling businesses, knocking on doors. I was doing everything in my power to build my business. And I think the mental shift was that I knew that the control was in my hands to decide what I was going to put into it. And as long as I put my all into it, that I would have the outcome that I wanted.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I think people think that, I know for a fact, I talk to many business owners and I said, if you can do all these things, it makes me question what you're actually doing in your business, right? Because it's such a heavy pull in the beginning. when you don't have a lot of resources, and there's a lot of moments of alone. Like when I the corporate girl, I left in 2021 from corporate America, and I can remember having lots of bodies around. I mean, it was COVID, but bodies in terms of family and people around, but it was still very lonely. It was still very lonely because I was going through so many radical mindset shifts. I was trying to figure it out and really understand, how do I, as you said, be unapologetic in who I am and still make a living. It's not an easy thing to do. And I don't expect, people who have not walked the walk to fully understand that. So I'm so happy that you gave that in terms of that mental mindset piece. I want to go here because you also too talked about losing a husband unexpectedly. And that hurt me because I felt like you got a moment or moments of glory, and then it feels like you were back down in the valley. And sometimes we have those peaks and valleys, those are soul shifts. It's like, what's happening? How did you work that, Amanda? Because there's nothing to play with. That's a big part of your life. And it's also too something that's going to be a part of your legacy because you navigated through it.
Absolutely. And I think there's no one solid answer to how you navigate grief. And it's a choose to move forward each day. And I kind of said at the beginning, I would do what I would say. I would give myself, I call them timeouts, like just allow myself the space to be mad, be angry, get the emotion out. But I would set a timer. And in the beginning stages, that timer had to be a really long time. And then as I moved through it, I would set the timer shorter and shorter and just be like, okay, take this moment, but come back to what you need to do today. Come back to the things you need to do to continue to move forward. And I give that advice a lot when we're feeling anything, right? When we're feeling emotions to an extreme, give yourself a timeout. Let yourself feel, but don't let it be all consuming in all things. The other part of it is really understanding that our stories can be used for good. So oftentimes we talk about these things like we kind of can get in an easy way of saying, like, why did this happen to me? And the answer is we don't know, and we probably never will. But sometimes just having the power to look at another human being that is going through something that you've went through and legitimately and heartfelt being able to say, I get it. I've been there. And you will be okay, makes what we've gone through worth it, because we can actually give that to someone else. And that's why I always say, it's like, how do we turn tragedies into triumph? And in that very small way, just being able to look at another human being saying, I get it. I see you, is a huge way to move that forward.
Oh, I love it. And I honor you and your courage today. I really appreciate it. And I'm honored that you shared that in this space, because one of the things you said is that our stories can be used for good. And I had to get off my own high horse, Amanda, because I tell people these podcasts are very much more for me than it is for you, because everything I do is with intention. I don't show up here and it's loosey-goosey. I honor this space. And I tell people that. And they know that I honor the story. I'm going to take the time. I'm going to fill it out. I don't use any canned questions. I facilitate these conversations to be very natural. And I tell people that when I start. Because what was happening, Amanda, is that I was out on the outside world before this started. And I was getting to a place. My gift was getting to the place and hearing people pour their stories into me. And it feel very natural. And I said, there is no way I won't share that with the world.
Yeah.
Period. And there was such a leap to do this. Because in my natural life, Amanda, I'm just a bookworm that likes to read and be left alone. I don't like it. I don't like a lot of stuff. I never have from childhood on upward. But it was very selfish of me not to be able to share my gifts and tell people exactly what you said, that your story has the power to be used for good. So
absolutely.
It's one of those things. So I know that we talked about this earlier about being in the heart or whatever, and also too, Amanda said, and even though Amanda said something, I laughed at myself because she said we may not ever understand, but Amanda, sometimes I'll be trying to put two and two together, it never makes four. It never. I'm trying to like, oh, why did I meet this person? Why did it have to be so hard? Why did that feel? I'm just trying to figure it all together. Don't do it, because she said something very powerful. We might not ever understand, but it's up to us to be able to move forward and use those stories to good for somebody else. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, let me go here because I want to make sure, because we're nearing the halfway point, but I want to make sure that we get into the meat of you and your services as well, because you said that you help small businesses beat big businesses. I love that. I love it. Small businesses sometimes, especially when they're new, it's like a lot of things, imposter syndrome. We can't really, we don't have enough. We're not big enough. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have this, that, and the other. Walk us through some of those things. We don't want you to give the goal because we know you sell services, but we want you to give us some things, right, that some of these small businesses can be doing, right, basically to get their names out there and make a solid impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And one of our big things that we really talk about is providing the resources and education that businesses really need in order to be able to make those decisions. And the reality is, big businesses have people like myself and other marketing agency owners that on staff that make hundreds of thousands, if not seven figures a year, just that they're paying them to do this stuff. Small businesses can't afford it. So that's why our goal is to help small businesses. But some of the things that we have to keep in mind is the very first thing, one of the biggest things we talk about a lot is you have to fix the biggest problem first. And oftentimes in our business, we want to fix things that aren't the biggest problem, right? If I have a hole in my boat, I need to fix the hole before I get all the water out. I need to make sure that more water's not coming in. But sometimes it can be easy to focus on the things that don't matter because those are the easy things. Those aren't the hard things to fix. So the first thing you have to fix is people have to know you exist. And the biggest problem I see with small businesses is nobody knows you exist. People can't buy from you if they don't know you exist, whether that be service or product based. So for local businesses, if it's like, I need to walk in to do business with you, you need to be letting your local community know you exist. And it has to be online now. Unfortunately, we've gotten to a place where online is not an option. And so what are you doing on social media? Are you making sure that you can easily be found on Google? Are you making it easy for people to walk in your store? But if you don't have a storefront and you're just an online business, which a lot of our businesses we work with are, then the same thing needs to be true. You need to be treating your online presence like a storefront. Are you making it easy for people to find you? Are you making it easy for people to talk to you? Are you making it easy for people to actually buy from you? Most of the time, the problem exists in the first step is just nobody actually knows you exist. So we need to be spending more time, a bulk of our time, fixing the marketing and advertising to make sure that people actually know we exist before we can actually start looking at all the other elements of marketing that exist.
Yeah, and that marketing piece is going to be huge. So, what do you say to these newer business owners who saying, "I don't really have a budget for marketing"? That comes up a lot. I go to a lot of small business events myself, and it's always that question of, "I don't have enough money for marketing. I don't have enough time for marketing." What are some of those initial things to do? Because the first thing I can tell you right now, but while you said out of your mouth you don't have, and you can't, you already put in blockers. So I'm just telling you that before Amanda tell you some more things. And I tell you guys all the time, when I speak to mainly women, it's most of my clients said and most of my circle, and we have a tendency to count ourselves out. And I said, you're standing out of your mouth first, and you don't understand how far that's putting you from the goal. But I want you to speak on that, Amanda, because they'll say it time and time again, and they don't realize how detrimental that is to their success. But go ahead.
Absolutely. So I always say you can only pay for marketing with two different currencies. You can either pay with time or with money. You have to decide which one you have more of. And the reality is, if you don't do marketing, your business will not grow. You will not make sales. So if you do not have money, which a lot of businesses starting out do not have financial resources, you have to leverage the resource you have, which is your time. Now, I don't care that you might have more limited time. I get it. We don't have all the time in the world. But at first, all of your time better be spent on marketing and advertising. And in reality, the thing becomes, it's not that we don't have the time, especially with women. And I work with a lot of women and moms as well. We're not really not having the time. We're afraid of the judgment that's going to happen when we start to put ourselves out there. So you have to stop what I call the comparisons trap. Quit comparing yourself to other people and start taking action. Just put yourself out there. It's going to take a while. It's a skill, right? Marketing is a skill. Good news is it's a skill. You can learn it. Bad news is you might not know it at first, and you might not be very good at it at first. So you have to put in the effort to learn it. But all of your time should be going towards marketing at first until you actually are starting to get consistent sales. And then you can start looking at other things. And when you start to get consistent sales, well, then good news is you have money and you can replace some of that time you're spending with money because you can pay other things to do it. But the reality is you likely do have time. You're just allocating the time you have to the wrong things. And you have to get really honest with yourself and be okay with not being the best at first. Be okay with the thought that someone might judge you, and be okay that you're going to have to put yourself out there and stop worrying about what people will think.
Yeah, and that can definitely be, a process, right? A journey. And it's definitely something to think about because, when I started at the beginning, I was saying, I see a lot of business owners. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have so much, you have no sales, but you have so much time to pour over here. And that's what I meant when I said it at the beginning. I'm like, you sure have a lot of time. And, you maybe need to, I think I had someone on here, I think she said a calendar detox. I don't know. She said something like that. I thought it was cute and catchy, but it's something really, really to think about because when you don't have the money, you have to put in that muscle with time to be able to get those sales. So I want to touch on that because we always have tons of new business owners that watch the podcast and they have a lot of questions, but they don't like to do a lot of introspective work so they can pull out their time. You understand?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's looking at what are you actually doing and understanding that it's going to take a lot of reps. It's kind of like when I don't go to the gym for one day and think I'm going to have my perfect beach body just because I went to the gym one day, right? It doesn't work that way in business either. You have to put in the reps, which means you're going to have to say, okay, maybe you don't have money. So you're going strictly with organic social media posting, which means you're just going to put posts out that let people know you exist and invite them into your world. That's fine. But it may take 100 posts before you get one that starts to work. And then you have to look at that 100 and be like, okay, what was different about that one that worked? And then you do your next 100, taking in the elements of the ones that worked, and you keep going until it actually starts working. The reality is the grit with which it takes to start a business, one, you need to understand you don't have to do that forever. It starts to work and then you can actually start to make different decisions, but you need the grit to keep going to get the sales to then actually be able to get to the point where you can scale a business. I hear a lot of people tell me sometimes, well, that's not scalable. And the reality is neither is not having any sales. So you have to do the unscalable at first to get to the point where you can scale a business and start making more money.
Yes, I love that. So are you guys just providing full-on marketing services for clients? Tell us more about the client suite and how you work with the clients so that they can determine, hey, I might need Amanda. Just kind of give us a rundown of how you help.
Absolutely. So we have 3 different levels. Our first is our full, we call it done for you marketing. So everything from social media marketing, email marketing, text message marketing, website development, Google, everything you need in an online space to increase your sales. And one of the things one of our other core values is cookie cutters are great for baking, but not for business. So we take a look at exactly where you are and where you need to go and what your goals are and create custom marketing packages for you to make sure that we can help you meet those goals. So that's done for you. You just say, hey, I don't want to do this. I want to talk to you about it, but we want you and your team to do all of this, and then you pay us for that. That's the first. The second is what we call done with you marketing. It's an online paid membership where we provide all the software you need, the education, and the support with some actually live daily coaching. So you can come on and get your questions answered and things like that. But it's a much more economical plan when you're getting started. So for as little as $69 a month, you're getting the support you need to get started, that then actually you can learn the marketing for your business exactly where you are. That's great for people that are starting out. we kind of say like that 0 to 10K level per month in revenue, it's great to start there if you don't have a lot of additional sources. And then we have our free marketing education that is absolutely free, where you can just come in and learn marketing on your own. Maybe you don't need the tools, or you don't want as much hands-on help. So we provide that absolutely free, because we want to make sure that you always have the best marketing education available to you, because there's a lot of not great advice out there. So we want to make sure that you have the best advice, and we never charge for that.
Oh, I love it. So there are a lot of different levels where you can, start from basically the bare bones. I'm not making any money, but I just need to get the education. And some people, and let me just say this, if you know that you are not yet ready to get out there and pound with the muscle, do the 100 posts, you need to subscribe to something like that, so that you at least get the mental capacity in terms of what it's going to take, right? Because that's, I'm telling you, when I started back in 2021, I had like a business cohort, and I can tell you probably maybe it's 2 of us from that cohort that are still actually out here doing it and still saying, look, I'm still going to do it, come hell or high water, we're still going to go and get this thing done, because many people, they get out there and their muscle and their time that Amanda spoke on a couple segments ago is just not there. So when people are offering those membership type, services, it's a good place to start, because you can get in there, you understand, and figure out what it's really going to take, right? If you don't have a lot of time, if you don't have a lot of resources, when you first start off, which most small businesses don't.
Absolutely. And my goal is to help them leverage the resources they have to the best capacity possible. And so that's what we really focus on.
I love it. Now, man, I don't get to this question often in podcasts, but when I do, I always give it, because I think it's a good one for you. Now, I want you to envision your 80th birthday party. I don't know who's there. I don't know what kind of food y'all have. I don't know if it's in the States, out the States. I don't know, but in that moment, what are you hoping that they are saying to you and about you, about your legacy? And then not only that, about just who Amanda is as a woman.
Ooh, I love that question. Thank you. And, I think the thing that I always hope for, and the thing that's biggest for me, is my family. So obviously I'm super fortunate to be close with my kids. 3 of my kids work for me now. So maybe someday I'll have grandkids, but I hope that they are there. But when I look back on what do I hope people are saying, I hope that it is that I inspired them to keep taking this step when they didn't feel like they could. Because I think sometimes when we can just keep putting one foot in front of another, we turn around and look back and realize how far we've come. So if I can just inspire one person to continue to take the steps they need in their life, if I can just teach one mom how to get, even if it's an extra $500 or $1,000 a month, I understand how life-changing that can be. So if I can just help you get more choices in your life, that to me would be an amazing life. And I hope I'm remembered as the person that is there to have fun with and love and support and tell you exactly what you need to hear when you need to hear it.
From what I gathered, Amanda, from just this time with you, I think you're well on your way to that. I want to just encourage you. You've had lots of peaks and valleys, but I look at a woman of resilience who's still showing up and getting stuff done. So I don't take that lightly. I'm incredibly proud of you. I'm wishing you from my heart, I'm wishing you the best and growth and everything. I think you truly deserve it. But I also too want to make sure that we don't leave without you telling the guests or the listeners, how to get in touch with you, whether they're social media, website, phone, or whatever you want to provide here. I want you to go ahead and drop your contact details.
Okay, awesome. I'm on all social platforms as Amanda R. Reed. And then really the best place, especially if you're a mom that wants to know about business, if you go over to the school platform, just school.com, and search for the mom-owned businesses, you can join absolutely free and join us and learn what it is going to take your business to the next level.
Absolutely. Thank you. And 30 minutes is just gone so quickly. I always tell them it just feels like, I meet I meet my tribe when I come on this platform and it goes so quickly. But this is the part of our show where we cue to you for final thoughts, Amanda. We want you to just give us just a statement, a couple statements, just about the essence of Amanda, whatever you think you should leave us with some strong final thoughts.
First of all, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And the last thing I just always want to remind you, we truly believe this, is the life you love is fueled by the business you build. Make sure you put people around you that encourage you and help you build that business. Give yourself the choice. And as I said earlier, you have no clue how fast the firsts become last. So enjoy every moment, celebrate, and give yourself the credit you deserve.
Absolutely beautiful. I want to thank Amanda for being here today. I don't take it lightly. And to everyone who's out there listening and viewing, I want to thank you guys for being here. I tell you, it's a beautiful thing when you let your voice shine. And I'll be back really in no time with another amazing episode on this amazing podcast. Thank you and have a great evening.